Hi friends, today we are going to work on making this really pretty betta fish. You're going to definitely need to start in pencil, and if you've got a big eraser, great. If not, you can use the one on your pencil. And then once we get the basic foundation of our fish down, you can use something that's a fine point. So I like the one that doesn't have xylene because it's not as stinky, but the Sharpie ones are fine too. You could also use a black pen if you have that. What I've done is I've made a Xerox copy of this fish, and it's not done yet. We will put some detail in here, but I wanted you to kind of see what the final piece looks like, because if we don't, you're just gonna probably not trust my process. So I'm gonna bring this one over here, and the first shape that we're gonna work on is this one here, and it kind of just looks like a lemon, cross between a lemon and a banana maybe. So we're gonna place it about right here on our page. Oops, my watercolor paper is upside down. All right, so we want to leave room over here for all these beautiful fins. So I'm going to kind of just sketch in this shape. And you can see I'm just adding it there with my pencil. Then we'll come in and kind of add this little shape. So we're going to take and add that tail that's turned back, and we'll kind of come over here and just close that off. Now that I'm looking, I think this line is probably going to need to go a little more like that. So I can get rid of some of this. We'll be good to go. All right. So we've got our basic fish body down. All we need to do is leave that there. Now we're going to kind of draw some giant shapes that will be each of these fins. Let's start just with this one. So this is our fish's face. This is kind of going to be its mouth. Its little eye will be right here. So its gill is going to be kind of here. So I'm just sketching all these things in so they'll be here for us later. This fin right here is coming out from behind that gill. So the first thing, let's just make kind of, we don't have to make the fins all rough and flowy right now. We can do that when we come in with our marker. So I think it's fine to just put the general shape there. And then we'll have, let's see, this is our bottom line of our fish. So then we'll have maybe another one coming that kind of goes down and out. And then it'll come up this way. So again, we're just penciling in some rough details so that when we go in to put these fins, we will be a little more oriented. Okay, so the next fin, let's work on this whole thing. So we're gonna do this whole shape. So we just basically wanna make a big, what would we call this shape? So this is gonna be where this fin comes up, and it'll come around. So we're kind of just gonna make a shape that does this. So that is all of this here. Let's see, we don't want this one to go that far out, so we want it to come down. Perfect. All right, so that's where that big one will be, and then this one will kind of come along right here. It can maybe be a little bit bigger, but that one will come out right there. All right, let's go ahead and outline our fish body. This is going to help make a little more sense as we go through and add all of these beautiful fins. Okay, so obviously this is behind a fin, so we don't need to outline that part. But let's start right here and follow this little line around. We're going to kind of bump at the top of that head and bump out around the jaw, and then we end at that fin, right? And then we're going to end over here where that fin starts. So, and end at that fin. So there's our fish. Let's do our little fish lip. So we have one piece that comes over like that, and then the part that comes down for the mouth. So let's kind of go in like that. And then our eye. So we just make a large circle. And then inside of it, we're going to make another circle. And then inside of that, a smaller circle. And then this part is dark. So this is just the that little circle is just the catch light in the fish's eye. But I like to leave it bigger than I think I might need it, because sometimes that marker can have a mind of its own. And then we'll put this gill up here, and it doesn't come to the head. It kind of curves back around the eye and meets the body. So there we've got our fish's body made. Great work, everybody. Now let's do the edges of this fin. When you come up, I want you to go swoop and then swoop back around. You can come up a little higher than your pencil. That's absolutely fine. And then same for this one. You're going to come around, swoop down, swoop up. So now we have the basic architecture of that. And the way I do these little ruffly edges, they're not super complicated. I kind of just like move my wrist around. So there's the edge of our little fin there. Super simple. You just zigzag it. There's really no wrong way to do this, because when we start putting all those lines in there, it'll look fine. Okay, so now we can add this one, and it can have the same little funky line on it, and then swoop down and kind of come up. So there, fin is coming from underneath the fish's body. So hopefully this is all making sense to you. For now, let's just follow this line up and kind of swoop outward, because this is going to be a big fan shape. All right, and then for this one, we want to come out to this edge, so we'll make our swoop down there. And then this is going to be a fin that's kind of in front. And then at this top edge, you can do that same thing. You can zigzag, you can kind of just back and forth however you want. I know that doesn't look amazing right now, but when we start putting lines on it later, it's going to. And then what I want you to do is just take and make one line here and go ahead and color that in. This is going to give us an edge for this fin. I've did this on all of the fins just so it helps separate them. And when you go back in to add color, you'll be able to see it and things will make a little more sense to you. All right, let's do this line here. So we already did this edge, but let's swoop it up, and we have this guide. So we're going to let that be our guide, but we're going to swoop this line up and kind of do some little wonky business here. You can kind of have a little rough edge. You can squiggle. And then this one's going to come down just behind that one. All right, so that's great. And then starting about right here, we're going to make this edge. Just follow whatever line you already have there. We're going to make this edge thick as well. And that's going to help it just be more delineated. So we'll just color that in. I'm going to turn mine sideways. Get that colored in so that we have that hard edge there, and we can tell where that fin ends. These fins are so billowy and so beautiful. I really love to draw them. Okay. Now, let's see. We can go ahead, we're going to switch back to pencil, but we can go ahead and erase all of the pencil that is here. And I recommend doing that now because it will be less confusing as you move through the rest of the tutorial. These lines won't bother you. You'll feel like you're making a little more progress. But you saw how having that shape there helped us make our very messy line. That is just kind of the raggedy looking floofy edge of all those big beautiful fins. All right. You're doing great. If you've stayed with me this far, I'm very proud of you for being here. Okay, the next thing let's do, so this is just the edge of the fish, so it's going to come here. The fish edge. Next, we're going to kind of start here. And I just want you to make kind of, just come out and make a big billowing cloud shape that hits your fish, I guess, kind of right under the mouth. But it comes out of this fin. No. Okay, so we're just kind of under this fish's chin, and we've made a line that goes up this way. That's going to help us know where to make this little rough edge. And then we're going to add this one here. So we're going to come out and kind of billow down and back up. Maybe we want it to go a little up and a little, it doesn't really matter. I think what we do here, it'll look fine. All right. And then over in this section, we're going to have a tiny bit here, and these lines are just going to kind of go this way. This is our section that we see behind all of these fins. Whew! Are you ready? I'm pretty excited. Back to your Sharpie. And we are going to take it and we're going to do our rickety little line. Let's do this one first. So let's swoop out and around there. And then let's kind of swoop down here, and we just have I'm kind of just making this wiggly. There we go. It's irregular wiggly, I guess would be a good way to say it. And then we're going to do the same thing all the way down. And, you know, we can start at this fin. So maybe if you go the direction that's not as comfortable for you, that might be a better way to make it very irregular. I'm sort of just making what I would usually maybe call kind of an ugly line. But in this case, it's what we want. And I'm going to go ahead and do this and go ahead and put those lines in. I know that it looks like a hot mess or some sort of cloudfish, but trust me, this will work. We will get there. Let's go ahead and close off this part of the fish's tail as well. All right, now we can erase our pencil lines behind these funky shapes. We're getting so close to the easy part. This is just getting kind of the basic architecture of our fish down. Make sure we're still in the camera. There we go. And I can get rid of, well, no, I'm not going to get rid of this fish yet. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in and kind of add these lines that you see here. And we're just going to sort of delineating where the breaks in that fin are. So let's do it. Here we go. So we're going to put, like, you see how they kind of all swoop out and go up? So let's do that here. And you can look at this one and trust the process for this one. All right. So I'm going to start kind of at the middle of this tail, and I'm going to swoop up and back and around like that. It doesn't really matter where you end up. And I'm going to start at a similar place. And I don't want this to follow the exact shape of that one. So I'm going to come down and then I'll go up and out with that one to where it's a little bit different. And then for this last one, let's see, we're going to go downward. So we're going to hit that fish kind of right in the middle of the head. And those are our lines that are going to be a little bit thicker. So you can go ahead and thicken those. Just trace a little parallel and kind of color them in. I really can't wait for us to get to the next part because it's the greatest part of this fish. I say that. I haven't painted one yet, so that might be the best part. We'll see. All right, so I colored that one in. I'm going to color this one in. I'm just kind of making an exact parallel to this line, as exact as I can be with my human hand. Sometimes it is not exactly doing what I want it to do. But this fish is going to have so many lines in it at the end that this part doesn't have to be incredibly exact. This part doesn't have to be the most precise part. Okay, so we have a thick line here. We have the thick edge of that one. We have 1, 2, and then we need to do this third one. So again, just a little thickness there. And I don't know that we really need a thick line on these. We could add one if we would like. But because those aren't all in a jumble of other fins, I think it'll be fine. We can put one right here. Let's do that. Let's add a little bit of there. So we've got that all fleshed out, and we can get started making the lines in all of our fins. Let's start with this one. Since it is at the top, I'm going to just draw a line, and I'm going to meet here, and I'm going to sort of follow the curve of that line that already exists. And then I'm going to skip over and find a new place and kind of still follow that curve. And then skip over and kind of find another one. Follow that curve down into where they all just meet in that one place. Now, this is where it gets kind of fun for me. This is what I enjoy. I'm going to come down from this top and I'm just pulling. This is just a quick pull, and I'm kind of curving because I want to sort of follow the curve of this fin. And I'm lifting my marker as I get to the end of this line. And that helps it make it nice and wispy and light. And then we're going to kind of do the same thing up from the bottom. So you can kind of split each of those sections in half. And then you can add just a few throughout. And this is very freeform. There isn't much consequence to adding too many lines. It just makes that fin look nice and floofy. All right, this one, because we have this awesome curve right here, every time I make a little line, I'm going to really curve out. So I want all the rest of my lines to kind of follow that curve. That's going to make this fin look really wavy and pretty. And then we can kind of do the same thing that we did before. You can add those little lines that sort of follow the curve that you've already put in there. I got a little wild with that one, didn't I? And just pull some up. I kind of try to divide each of these in half, maybe. I don't think there's a wrong way to do this. So if something is working better for you or looks a little better, you can do that. So now we've got 2 fins done. So we're just going to kind of keep doing this. I think we do need to darken this because we have that fin behind it. So let's darken that. There we go. I left this one undone because I wanted you to see how those waves go before I get to really filling everything in. So I'm going to start here at this one and really follow that curve. So I want you to not be shy with just being very floofy and curvy with these lines. So I'm going to come in and up and down. Same with this one. I'll come back and over and down. So you can see how that's creating some of that motion that we might see when water is interacting with these beautiful fins on our fish. And then now we're going to be behind. So we just stop at that one. And then these might be coming down a little straighter. So we can start going back this way. There we go. And then we can do our little spiky lines, kind of like this. Couple up, couple down. And then some more. We just kind of want to echo all of these lovely curves that we have here. You might notice that this is getting a little darker here toward where all those lines converge. That's fine. That's what is supposed to be happening. So this is why we did this edge, because otherwise these two might just blend right together and you would lose all of that lovely detail. I'm second guessing I might want to shade at the top of this one too. I also could do that when I add color. I can add a darker color where it might be more shaded. We can just add a few more of these little scratchy lines back here to show shadow. There we go. So we're getting there. We've got to do that to the rest of these. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna move this one out so I can turn this sideways and we can really get started on making these lines. So I'm just gonna start in the middle. I'm gonna follow that curve and come up. And then I'll just split each of these in half as well as I can. Keep going upward. And then if it's easier for you to go downward, you can do that too. Let's try that. No, I don't like it. Sorry. Okay, starting here, and then you can go down and kind of just lift wherever you end up. We just want to keep following the same contour so that, let's see, this is going to be pretty dark right here. Follow that same contour, and then we'll come in and put our little very easy light lines. And for me, it works to either, I think it's nicer to just pull straight down when I do these than to try to do them sideways. That works a little better for what my hand likes to do. And what's the most important with these lines is that they all have the same contour. They're all swooshing the same way. It doesn't matter if they're straight. It doesn't matter if they're perfect. We just want them all swooshing the right way. So you can see how it's already starting to feel pretty flowy. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit since we can. Okay, so same thing. I'm gonna sort of split this one in half and then split that in half and split that side in half. And let's see, I'll come downward this way and try to stay between those lines. And then I'll come down from here and meet there. I think that's enough. I think maybe we need one more over here. You be the judge. You can decide how many you think you need. And then I'm going to come down and start adding my little scratchy lines. And they're still going to be following this same contour. This is just going to help make these fins feel so billowy and so beautiful. I'll add some coming upward too. This can be a very satisfying process if you enjoy the little line drawing. Sometimes these lines, when you're trying to get in the middle of them, can start playing tricks on your eyes. So if that's the case, just kind of try and stay. It doesn't really matter if you're right on the line or between it. Just keep following that same curve that you've made. All right, so we've got those done. So now I'm going to work on this one here. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to swoop forward. And then I'll come down here and kind of swoop forward. And a little more of the same. And I'm swooping upward with that one. And we might have room for another one between these two. Maybe another there. Oh, we definitely have room here. All right. So now we're just going to add those little lines that we pull down again. I know this is a lot of fins, but I think this is really what makes the drawing beautiful. It's having a lot of those lovely lines coming down. Having all of that contour just really gives a lot of depth to these fins. I think I might have said that before in this video, maybe several times. All right, we're almost there. Try not to run over my fish's face here, because we do want that to stay nice and not have these little lines on it. All right, ever so close. We just have 2 more fins left. All right, this one can be we can make these lines kind of as wavy as we want. Oh, I missed this part of that fin, didn't I? There we go. All right, so this fin would be originating maybe on the other side. So these lines don't have to converge at the middle. They can kind of come down and swoop however they feel like it. And let's see. All right, that's gonna work for me. And then we'll do the same thing. I'm gonna make this pointier because I can. It's my fish, I can do what I want. That's not my favorite part of this fish. I didn't know how this fish was going to work out. That's why I have that other drawing. I thought, I'm not going straight into this tutorial. I'm going to try this fish. Sometimes I just go straight in. I just do it. But sometimes I need to practice one first. Or sometimes I think it's very helpful to some of you if I have a finished product that you can see. That can be very nice. Once again, not unusual. I do have a snoring dog in my room here. It's a beautiful day. We were all out playing, so now she's exhausted. All right, last one on this fin. And then we just have this very last back fin. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of make it curvy and then make it meet back at that same point. There we go. Now we can just add our texture to this one. And that's it. That's the last one. Yay! All right. Now I'm going to look at this one and I'm going to see, let's see, I'm going to back out so we can see the whole thing, I think. Yeah, nope. Tiny bit more. Here we go. So you can see I left some of these spaces undone so you could just have a little something to look at. You can look and decide if there are any places you feel like you might want to darken. Oh, we forgot this one. Well, you might not have. You might have been sitting there going, Casey, you forgot that one. So thank you in advance for not making too much fun of me. Let's get our lines in there. And then I'm going to darken this edge just a tiny bit because it would be kind of shaded. All right, and then we can pull on up so that we can see the lovely contours of that fin that's just peeking in from the back. There we go. So that's all the floofy fin stuff. Now, if you would like to, you can add little scales on the fish. And that is as simple as making some little arcs and then arcs on top of them. And I don't know where I want my scales to stop, so I'm kind of just going to make them loosely. They're not going to all really touch on this particular fish. There we go. Because then, as I get toward the back, I can kind of spread them out a little extra. And then I don't really have to make scales all the way down my fish. This is Lazy Fish Drawing 101. It's just adding scales where they kind of look like they just are dropping in. You can always, when you color it, you can add more pattern. But also the scales that are further away from us maybe would be smaller. All right, so that's all the scales that I'm going to do on this fish. You can see on this one that I did a whole bunch. And so if you like that look, you can always do it that way. But I think I'm going to be done with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and sign it, and then I think I'm going to paint it.